You are tired of trying to look at what you have and see that it's not enough. You serve now, silence, wait. But still the account does not close, the strength is not enough, the faith looks small. And perhaps, like those 4,000 in the desert, you are like this. It was for the sake of Jesus, but now feels hunger to tighten. 3 days listening to the word, but the body begins to ask for help. 3 days of delivery, but the natural starts to scream louder than the spiritual. Listen, this is not punishment. It's a scenario. This is not abandonment. It is training. The desert where everything is missing. This is where he decides to show that he is everything. Your scarcity is being observed by eyes that go. You were not forgotten in the crowd. Jesus saw you, and the Bible says, I have compassion on this crowd because it's been 3 days with me and have nothing to eat. Mark 8:2. He is not an indifferent master. He is a pastor, he feels. And his gaze today lands on you. But sir, I only have 7 breads and a few fish. Delivery. Don't ask what I'm going to do, only deliver. But it doesn't even give me. That's exactly why I glorify me. Because when it is not enough, I enter like El Shaddai, the more than sufficient God. It's not about the size of what you have. It is about the obedience to deliver even without understanding. Do you think your little cannot change anything? Look what Jesus did with 7 breads, fed 4,000, and still left. There are miracles that doesn't happen because you are still hoping to have a lot to deliver. But the sky does not multiply vanity. The sky multiplies surrender. Now, before you continue, enjoy this video. Comment on me, sir. If that word is touching your heart, subscribe to this channel and share it with someone who is feeling without strength. Someone needs to know God does not need to spare. He just needs delivery. And what you are about to live will prove that the little in the hands of Jesus is an abundance that the world does not understand. 3 days with him, and they didn't leave. There was no restaurant, there was no rest, there was no pillow, no bed, no shadow or supply. But also, there was no way to leave, because when the presence is true, the body even cries out, but the soul begs to stay. They were hungry, but they were full. How is this possible? It is the mystery that only understands who has proved the taste of the living word, who has already felt sustained just for hearing Jesus to speak. Have you ever had this experience? To be exhausted without strength, but in the midst of weakness? Did anything hold you in the secret? Did something keep you from getting out of your presence? Even with tears you said, Lord, just a little here. So it is. This is what the 4,000 lived. They did not follow Jesus because he promised bread. They followed because he was the bread itself. And even without understanding, even without guarantees, they stayed. Today, many say, I follow Jesus, but only while he gives. These 4,000 not. They followed while missing. They proved the essence of true faith. Faith that remains even when the body wants to give up. Maybe you are living this now. Following, praying, serving, but feeling the hunger of unhealthy results. You see people feeding on the fruits you still expect. You have been walking with Jesus, but it seems that the miracle only comes to others. But listen, Jesus does not despise those who seek him for who he is. There is something sacred in the heart that remains even in silence, even when there is no bread, even when everything says, go away, it's not worth it. Those 4,000 stayed, and so they were fed with a miracle that only those waiting receives. You will also be. You will not die of spiritual hunger. You will not be forgotten in the crowd. Jesus saw, and he is already preparing the multiplication. Before the miracle, God tests motivation. Are you for him, or for what does it give? The heart that desires it above livelihoods. It is the heart that will be sustained by heaven. Do not despise hunger time. It is he who reveals who the true passionate about Christ are. Jesus did not feed the 4,000 because he could. He fed because he felt. The Bible is clear. I have compassion for this crowd. Before power came empathy. Before the miracle came the heart of the heart. Listen to this. Miracles do not only flow from gifts, but from the bowels touched by mercy. Truth anointing is not born of performance, but of hidden tears. The authority that Jesus carried was not only spiritual, it was emotional, human, incarnate. He looked, moved, cried, and then multiplied. Do you want to walk in authority? Want to pray and see chains falling? Want to play and see hearts being healed? Then learn to feel what Jesus feels. Learn to care about the pain of the silent multitude. Compassion is not a weakness. It is a secret password of the sky. There are people trying to walk in spiritual authority with a hardened heart. They want to release prophetic words without ever carrying the other's pain in the chest. Want to preach about restoration without ever having felt the weight of a soul shattered in the silence of dawn. But Jesus shows us the royal authority is not conquered with shouts. It springs from the secret place where tears roll without audience. He saw 4,000 hungry, and he felt something that the disciples couldn't feel yet. "Sir, say goodbye," they said. "I have compassion for them," answered Jesus. See the difference? Where men saw discomfort, Jesus via opportunity. Where there were people disturbing the plan, Jesus saw souls waiting for a touch. Today, maybe you are like that crowd. Maybe look at you impatiently. Go away, you're disturbing, you're asking for too much. But Jesus is saying, I have compassion on you. Not only does it know what you need, he feels with you. And that is why he is so powerful, because your authority comes from intimacy, of love, from crying of shared pain. Do you want to be used by God? So don't harden your heart. Feel again. Come back. Do not want gifts without pain. Do not want ministry without tears. Don't want applause without compassion. The authority that transforms is the one that loves, and the love that heals is the one who first bleeds inside. 7 breads, some fish, a crowd, and an impossible void to fill with what was in the hands. But Jesus was not amazed at the lack. He was not stuck with human mathematics. He did not mutter, did not complain, did not hesitate. He simply said, "How many breads have you?" And then, "Give me." Do you know what this reveals? That the sky does not operate from logic. The sky operates from delivery. Jesus could create bread out of nowhere, but he preferred to use what they had. Why? Because God only multiplies what is placed on the altar. What is retained, he does not touch. But what is delivered, it transforms. Listen to this. As you hide what you have because you find it too little, the miracle remains locked. You say, "This is not good, that is no good, that is not enough." But the sky responds, "If you give me, I'll prove that I am God of the impossible." What do you have today? Wounded talent, time scarce, a broken heart, tired of being rejected, a call that no one recognizes, pain that you don't even know if you can verbalize? Give it. Don't expect to be ready. Don't expect to be strong. God did not ask for perfection, he ordered bread. And even the breads being few were consecrated, were divided, and became food for thousands. The miracle was born from the obedience of those who did not retain, of those who did not make calculations, who just trusted. Look, the little in your hand can be afraid, but the little in the hands of Jesus can feed a generation. That crowd was satiated with something that would humanly be despised. Perhaps what you have, your story, your surrender, your prayer, seems small to human eyes. But if you consecrate, if you put in the right hands, the sky will multiply. And when that happens, everyone will know. It was not the quantity. It was obedience. It was not the strength. It was the delivery. Who saw you hiding the little? You will see you sharing the miracle. Who saw you hungry? You will see you overflowing with plenty of baskets. It just depends on a decision. Will you keep saying you can't? Or will you say, "Take, sir"? He ordered the people to nod the ground. Mark 8:6. Before the bread came the command. Before the miracle came the instruction. Before the abundance came the silence of obedience. Jesus looked at a hungry crowd and said, This looks simple, but it's deep. Because the biggest obstacle to the miracle, it's not the lack, it is the restlessness. There are people asking for provision, but they don't know how to stop. There are people crying out by answer, but cannot shut up. There are people begging for direction, but do not settle. He runs, trying to solve everything with their own hands. Sir, I need a miracle. So, sit down, wait, trust, silence. The order of Jesus was clear. Set about, stay on the floor, do not shake, do not try to control. And this is the point: God does not multiply in the midst of chaos. He expects your soul to rest. You can have bread in hand, but if there is no order, there is no multiplication. God is not God of haste. He is God of processes. He does not respond to despair. He responds to silent faith. When you rest on Him, you are saying, I won't run anymore. I won't manipulate anymore. I won't try to help God anymore. I'll wait at the right time, in His mode. This is faith. Faith is not just asking. Faith is to rest before the answer comes. Faith is to trust before the bread is broken. And look how beautiful. It was on the ground, in silence, organized, surrendered, that the people were fed. The bread did not come in the run. It didn't come on the scream. It didn't come in anxiety. It came at rest. Maybe God has not yet multiplied what you need because you have not yet settled. You pray but doubt it. You fast but murmur. You cry out, but you already have a plan B prepared if God takes time. But the sky is dire today. Give me your confidence. Sit. Rest. I'm preparing something bigger than you might think. Don't run after the bread. Feels close to Jesus, and you will see the bread come to you. The order precedes the miracle. Submission precedes multiplication. Inner peace precedes external provision. And what He did there, still do today. With whom stops, with whom waiting, with whom rests. When Jesus touches, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. When He divides, what was little turns over. When He moves, what was scarcity becomes plenty. Look, they didn't eat just enough. They fed up, and there was still left over. This breaks human logic, because the little has become more than necessary, because the impossible became every day. The supernatural became the new normal for those with Jesus. And here is a truth that needs to echo within your soul. God did not call you to live on the edge. He called you to overflow. You were not created to begging peace, love, or provision. You were made to carry plenty of baskets after being fed. But this overflow, it only happens after delivery, after order, after rest. Do you want to live miracles every day? Want to try the impossible constantly? So stop living limited to what your eyes see. Begin to believe what Jesus can do with what seems to give nothing. They saw 7 breads. Jesus saw 7 baskets of plenty. You see scarcity. Jesus sees abundance hidden behind faith. But beware, don't be fooled thinking that the miracle comes to impress. It comes to transform. The purpose of the supernatural is not to entertain you. It is pushing you to a higher level of trust and delivery. The miracle you seek is not to prove something to others. It is to reveal to you who God is and who you are in it. You are the son of the God who multiplies the little. You are a disciple of the Master who is not limited to logic. You are heir to a transshipment promise, not misery. No more surviving, enough to pray as a spiritual beggar. No more asking for crumbs while the Father is ready to shed whole baskets. But for that, you need to decide. You will keep trying to turn around with what you have been, or will you put everything in His hands? Because only those who deliver see multiply. Only those who obey see overflowing. Only who remains sees the supernatural to become every day. And when this happens, you will understand. It wasn't just bread. It was teaching. It was proof. It was glory disguised as necessity. They ate, they got tired, and they even collected 7 pleasant baskets. But the real miracle, it wasn't bread. It was the look of Jesus who crossed the crowd. and saw each other's hunger, the look that realized who was for love, even without guarantee, the look that not only saw empty stomachs, but souls surrendered. Today, you may be in this place, in the crowd, praying, waiting, serving, but hungry. Hunger for meaning, hunger for response, hunger for healing. And you wonder, does he see me? Does he still care? Yes, he sees. He has known how long you have been with him. He saw how many times you remained even without strength. He saw when you gave up shortcuts. He saw when you delivered how little you had. And today he says, I have compassion on you, and I will feed what is about to die in you. You are not listening to that word by chance. God brought you here to say, the time of multiplication is coming, but it will not come to those who run. She will come to those who sit, for those who rest, for those who trust to the end. Those 4,000 returned home fed, but more than that, returned marked. They saw with their own eyes what Jesus can do with little. They touched the grace that overflows beyond logic. They were witnesses of the compassion they support, even in the desert. And now, it's your turn. You are not just here to hear a video, you are here to live a watershed. If you understand that this word went to you, comment now. Gratitude. Enjoy this video. Share with someone who is about to give up. And subscribe to this prophetic channel where the word speaks to your soul. Because here, it's not about fame. It is about the secret. It is about those who follow Jesus, even with hungry, and find that only He is the bread of life. Your faith will be rewarded. Your silence will be visited. Your little will be multiplied. And your testimony will be, I was, and He fed me.